tanking or something like that. They don't back it up. Again, I'm so sorry, I just cut you off, but yes, say that again. For sure. Who's that? You have a name. I'm sorry, you have a name. What's your name? It's tanking. Really?
Sorry, I'm trying to get it set up so I don't have to keep holding it.
Yes, say that again. I was just saying, you hear someone say, it's tanking, or it's injured, there's anything like that, and they don't back it up with what makes them think
that's a really positive reinforcement. But I see the reason and going back to what General said, not everybody is as experienced. And I mean, I call myself an intermediate.
that's
for those people who don't even really know about crypto or stock or anything like that, not
everybody is as experienced, and I call myself an intermediate, not even advanced trader. So those people who don't even really know about crypto or stocks or anything like that, hear anything about tanking, the first thing they're going to start doing is looking at their portfolio and, finding out, That's all. Is there anyone
at this point I'd like to give some more loss or maybe longer than, 10 or 15 seconds? Not something quick, but you would like to talk about the price action, right?
Just a retracement, that's all. And is there anyone at this point who would like to give some more TA or maybe longer than...
It's not tanking. I told you guys it was just a small dip.
Would like to talk about the price action right now. Is there anyone who's capable and would like to see? Ken, thank you, yes. What we're looking at is looking at a bunch of scalps in the range of 5 on the high and about 5 to 6 on the one ahead having it on the low. 5 just looking at a bunch of scalps on the rehab.
Quit giving me trading view ads.
So maybe expect this thing to turn around here in the next 15 to 20 minutes and kind of go terrible back up to 591. And if it kicks out of it just briefly kicked out of its original bull, well, we call it the engulfing candle, but it's really, Adam refers to it as the mama bull candle. It pushed out past that one, but didn't quite get all the way back to this other point of resistance. Up here at the 591, but it pushed out of that really close to 547 to there. So I would just expect to, you want to watch the 1 minute for like little short things like this. We may end up with, like I said, with a little bit of bouncing and consolidating down here in probably the 557 to, probably go up to the 563 range. That might have a little bounce and consolidation in there until it does make its move and prove the 15 and 30 minute that this is a cup and a handle with a, so like cup handle, a little bit of bouncing consolidation to a parabolic. This is looking like a really nice bull flag. The bulls seem to be winning today for sure. I'm not hedging, my bets on anything other than I love Doge, hold Doge, and that's it.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Rick.
How you doing, Rick? I just got one question.
I'm good.
Anybody remember 2 days ago when I was like, we're going to take a little breather around 56, 57?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, but this is going to consolidate here for a while, it seems like.
Hey, quick question.
Go ahead.
This is a newbie question, so bear with me. What are areas of resistance? Can somebody explain that to me, please?
Well, Rick, since we have to answer that.
Let me grab the link to my stream, and just in case you can't see my screen, what I'll do also is stream my my screen in the Discord here. So one sec. Let's see, screen 2, 1080p, go live. There we go. All right, and I'll grab the the YouTube stream as well, in case it fills up in here and people want to see. 1 second. So yeah,
G'day, Rick.
I can see that. G'day. I can see that triangle forming as well. It's pretty clear. All right, I'll put it in the general chat. The link to my live stream, so you can see my chart on there too. Wow, lots of messages in here. Okay, there we go. So lines of resistance. It depends. Like, are you looking at the trend? Like, there's trend lines, and then there's basically like sort of high point lines of resistance as well. So you could say like this is going to be one. Change this to blue. Just because you can see like wherever there's a high point, it's going to act as, you know, the same kind of resistance when we come and revisit that line. And the reason that we get these like rejections out of nowhere is because of the order book here. You can see at 58 cents, there's 21.2 million Doge for sale there. So we can't move higher until that gets bought through that sell wall, that 21 million sell wall. And it's, yeah, surprise, surprise, it's right here, 28. Now, the way I've got the order book set is that it groups all of the prices between 57 cents and 58 cents together. That's why you just see it as one round, like, group, one whole group. If I was to break the order book up into smaller chunks, like, you know, fractions of a cent, like this, it would be a lot more, you know, chaotic, and you can only see, you see orders flashing by really fast because we're so zoomed in. I guess this is kind of like zooming out onto a higher time frame, if you will, but it's just like a lower decimal place, I guess, or is that higher decimal place? Anyway, it's basically just zooming out. So it's it groups all of the 58 cents prices together, all the 59 cent prices together, so on and so forth. Yeah, I'll show you another thing as well. It's something called the depth chart, and you can like sort of get a visual representation of where the walls and the supports are. The supports and the resistances. So I'll just jump into the Doge pair on here, and we'll go depth. Okay, so this is like the Binance exchange app or program. This is like what we're all used to looking at, the candle chart, but this is the depth chart. So this sort of shows the order book, which is here on a horizontal axis. Like, so I guess if we zoom right in, like you can see these like steep drop-offs here. These are walls. These are called buy walls here because it's on the green side. If we zoom out, you can sort of see them like at each major interval. Oh, it's so sensitive to zoom. Hang on a minute.
Excuse me, Rick. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can I just say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was on the YouTube channel, and Tame mentioned that you broadcast on YouTube since your audio is working.
Yes. Yep. That's it. So yeah, if anyone in Tame's stream can hear me, feel free to visit my stream. If his is down at the moment, you can happily get it back.
Chad, if you put the link, I'll post it in his chat.
To another cell phone.
Where'd you put the link?
Yeah, I saw that. I actually woke up and I had a look. I was like, wow. Yeah, I had a couple of blackouts myself yesterday, power failures, power outages. So I had to sort of like rush around and fix that up. But if you guys type into YouTube "crypto down under" with spaces, you'll be able to track down my channel. My channel logo is like it's like a white circle with a little black kangaroo inside it.
Where'd you put your
post it in his YouTube chat.
Okay, cool.
Did you put it in one of the
Yeah, it's in general. Yeah,
Okay,
general chat. Yeah. Thank you for that.
No problem.
Awesome.
Thank you, Rick.
You're welcome. So, yeah, this sort of gives you a visual representation of where the walls are. You can see there's quite a steep one here at $1, which is to be expected. It's the big round number. So that's basically that's what we're facing. See how like big the sell side is here? It's sort of overshadowing all the buyers. So yeah, there's a bit of traffic between here and $1. So I guess when you zoom in, you sort of get a picture of what we're immediately facing. There's a bit of a wall here, a bit of a cliff. That's the 60-cent wall. This one's the 61 cent, and you can just see it just steps up each time. But I say, yeah, the biggest jump here seems to be at 60 cents. So that's, you can see there, 48.5 million Doge, or, $59.8 million. So that's a lot of buying. That's not to say we can't get through it, because last night we smashed through a wall of 100 million Doge, which was $50 million. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. A quick question about the numbers you're showing there. I'd imagine historically, as we get closer to those numbers, as we get closer to those prices, you'd see those order numbers change, right? I mean, I'd imagine not that people would just be sitting on their orders waiting for it to happen, but as the price approaches, let's say 60 cents, there would be more or less price activity at those volumes as we approach that number. Is that right?
Yes. So a lot of these numbers, by the way, will be bluffs. It's sort of like playing poker. You bluff your opponent, right? The people on the sell side that are trying to manipulate the price down, like especially the market makers, like the whales, they're going to be trying to encourage people, or they're trying to perpetuate the fear, like so that the price stays down. The purpose for that is accumulation. They want to buy more Doge at a cheaper price. They don't want to buy it like up high. So, yeah, that's the way that works. And it happens on the opposite side as well. Like they'll hold the price up artificially just by putting massive walls up, usually well under the actual price, because they don't want to. The whole point of like bluffing an order is that you don't want it to get filled. Like, so I've seen many walls, like the price will approach the wall and then all of a sudden at the blink of an eye, the wall gets taken away because they don't actually want that order to fill. It's just there for the purpose of spooking everyone, or like, changing everyone's mind, or yeah. So if I take this away.
Sorry, could I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
So those walls, they're actually orders that haven't been fulfilled to psych out people. Right. So they're not actual, they haven't done anything with those walls.
No, they're just hypothetical, like buys and sell. They're just bids. So they're not filled yet. This list above here that I'm showing on my YouTube stream, these are actual executed orders, ones that have been filled. So they're real. So I guess if you want to get a sense of actually what is happening, like this sort of tells you what of those have actually come through. So I've got these filtered out as well. I'm only showing orders of 50,000 and above. I can change that. Like I can go open up the settings cog here. See how I've got minimum amount filter? If I change that to 100,000, this will tick by a lot slower, but I'll only get information of really large orders that will, move the price. So look at these ones coming through, 291,000, 155,000. So yeah, and vice versa. Like if I was to just change it to 1 or 10, you'll see it tick past really fast because there's lots of little orders that are going off all the time.
You might find out real quick. I just got a notification saying from Gemini
that they're going to be accepting Doge soon to buy and sell.
Awesome.
So that might be a catalyst.
Oh yeah, that's going to cause some kind of, when that filters through, like it might take a couple of minutes, but it might be enough to get us through and up. Okay, so from a technical analysis point, where we're at. Yep.
Sorry to interrupt. I'd actually heard that news earlier today about the Gemini.
Oh, okay.
I'd actually heard that news earlier today about Gemini accepting trading Doge.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I just got a notification from their app specifically, so I thought maybe that would be different.
Yeah. All right. So we've got lower highs, but hey, we've also got higher lows. So it's not over. Like the bull, like this uptrend's not over. This is just a bullish continuation pattern, which means we've had that high point, and now we're just consolidating sideways and regaining, like, I guess you could say, buyers' confidence, because a lot of people are just sitting out and they want to know that the trend will continue before entering. So what I mean by that is, if the majority of buyers are looking at this same pattern, the way to play this pattern isn't to enter a position inside the triangle. You take a position outside the triangle because you're waiting for confirmation of a break. So if we break to the upside here, your entry would be somewhere like here, or, probably just above the resistance here.
And where do you place the lines? Sorry, Rick.
Which line, sorry?
So where do you decide to put the, to form the triangle?
Like these, right, these lines, yeah.
The high points and the low points.
Yeah, you get as many touches as you can between, like, it can be a combination of candle bodies and wicks as well. But just as long as you get sort of like a general feel for it, as price moves, these can be adjusted to just sort of give you a better feel for where things are headed. Like, in an hour's time from now, when my chart here reaches 9 o'clock, this could change to something that looks more like this, because this might come up and come down, come up, more like that. Whereas with the candle information we have now, it's looking more like this at the moment. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So
yeah, awesome. Thank you.
But a triangle like this doesn't look as good as a triangle like this, because we want to see more touches and more validation of this being a trend line. So this bottom line's a lot cleaner and clearer, because we've got 3 major reactions off it. So,
and you want to buy and sell outside of those of those lines.
That's right. So that's the difference between trading from anticipation and then trading from confirmation. So you always want to be trading off confirmation, not anticipation, because you don't want to guess.
Beautiful.
You want to stack the odds in your favor.
If you trade inside the triangle, I would say that you're gambling, not trading.
That's right.
That's
exactly.
right.
You're rolling the dice because there's still a chance of a breakout or a breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, this is just like a ballpark figure, but the breakout to the upside in this scenario would be about a 70% chance. And then, obviously the breakdown to the bottom, that leaves 30% chance of it failing. So you're just playing a game of likelihoods. Like, you want to, it's all about probability. So it's kind of like poker in a way. Like, when you're playing poker, it's a game of probability.
Well, we're playing roulette, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So trading is just probability. Yep.
That pattern is not called
symmetrical triangle.
Yeah, or how do I say, pennant, isn't it?
Pennant, yeah, I can see it as a pennant. The point is, they all suggest the same action, which is price coming into the pattern from below. So it's coming in an uptrend, and then it's consolidating, and then there's going to be, we hope, a continuation of the trend. But that's not confirmed yet, because we're still inside the pattern. We're waiting to see which side like which resistance or which support breaks, and then we can reassess from there. If it does break down to the if it breaks support and we go down further to the downside, that doesn't mean that it's all over. It just means at this point in time, this current movement, is looking for further support at a lower price. So I would say, this yellow line at the moment, this 47 cents, we had a bit of, like on the way up at least, there was a lot of support. There was a lot of buy pressure. And you can sort of see we spent a lot of time just above 47 cents before we made this run. So that's going to act as some kind of significant level there. If I turn on the volume profile, this shows you where, in this sort of sample of candles here, it shows you where, the volume's sitting, or where the volume has been traded the most. So in this case, it's there. And you can sort of see that represented. You can see the candles pass through this area the most. Like this is the noisiest area. Whereas you can compare it to this area. Look how quiet that is. Like there's only one candle pass, or a couple more over here. So that's why you get this hole in the profile. And these holes mean that the price is likely to move freely through there, or quickly. So through these holes, once we break through the traffic, the car speeds up. It's like being on a highway. You hit areas of traffic and you hit areas of no traffic. So,
sorry, Adam. You know where you just represented Rick? Oh, sorry, Rick. Sorry, I do apologize.
All right.
Do you see where you just represented those holes? So where your triangle is pointing at is pointing just above a hole. So we're currently experiencing the resistance of that volume where you're pointing at right now, that one. So what you're saying is if we break through that, potentially there's a hole after it, so the price might move freely after?
Correct. Yep. So there's not a lot of price history above, say this point here. Like this is the all-time high. When we reach beyond the all-time high, you basically turn this indicator off because it's not really, well, you don't have to turn it off, but it's not giving you any resistance information because there's no traffic ahead. It's just blue skies.
Like a no man's land, basically. You don't know what's happening.
Yeah. If you think of this like, let me grab this. This is the perfect little symbol for this. Okay. Let's say we've taken off in an airplane and we've taken off from the airport. There's a huge bunch of clouds up ahead and it's a thunderstorm. It's like hailing and lightning. You're going to get a lot of turbulence coming up through the volume, but once you get up over it, it's blue skies and there's no resistance. You can fly freely. There's less turbulence. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to fly free, Rick. I want to fly free.
Rick, what's your indicators when do you know when we're on blue skies? What's your most valid indicator? It might be the order book to know where to sell.
Okay, so I guess the target for a sell is hang on a minute. We're just breaking down at the moment.
Incoming, folks.
Let's just see what's happening.
Catch the dip.
So we want to see, I guess we want to see where this is going to get caught. And look, if you look at the volume profile, it's highly likely that we slow down on this dip at this level, which is, 53.7 cents, basically 54 cents, I would say. That's where we'll find support if this continues to fall. It looks like we're already sort of wicking up now. Like this could just be a fake out. So that's when the price falls out of a pattern and then jumps right back up into it. So I guess you could say that this isn't confirmed yet, this breakdown, because the candle hasn't finished yet. It's still active for another 2 minutes and 23 seconds. Let's zoom out to like an hourly time frame as well. We'll check the EMAs too. So Let me just turn off this volume profile just so we can really see what's happening. Okay, so from an EMA perspective, like the cross on the 1 hour chart, we're still very much within a bull signal here, like a buy signal. So this is still in effect. It's still in play. You know, it's very healthy for the price to come back and get back in touch with the blue line or the orange line and then bounce off it as support. You can see instances of that on the way up. Like, see here, we actually went below it. It didn't mean it was the end of the trend. It just, it needed that support. It needed to find that support before we could continue higher. So you could say these pullbacks we've seen are actually less severe than this one, because this one actually broke through and like wicked down below the blue line. So we haven't even come down to the blue line just yet. Okay, that's the 1 hour chart. It probably tells a different story on the 15-minute, or I know it will. Yep, so we're still within this bull rally, I guess you could say, this current rally. We might get a death cross or a sell signal when these EMAs cross, and it might happen around here somewhere. That's if the price is to continue to fall. We'll get that, but that's not going. That hasn't happened yet, so don't panic. We still need the confirmation of these candles closing, you know, and not being bought up. We want to see this with the wicks. We want to see long tails. That indicates buy pressure or buys coming in and rescuing the price and pushing it up from that low point. On the 5-minute, I think we were just on the 5-minute. Yeah, we've had that sell signal there. But, you know, signals on the 5-minute and the 1 minute, they can come through thick and fast. Like they can, yeah, like right here, look at this one. There's an example of us getting a sell signal, and then the next candle, it's a buy signal. So it's like, yeah, the lower time frames are a bit noisier. Like you'll get more signals in a shorter space of time, especially through like, look at all here. Look how many signals it's giving.
So for those that want to scalp, would you say that when it's consolidating, that's not a really good scalping, or you know, when it's getting close to that to that end, like, you know, to the breakout point, will not be a good time to be scalping?
So best time to scalp is when the trend returns, or like when you get a continuation of this uptrend. So right now, this is like sort of like an indecision sort of pattern that we're in. Like we may not have broken out of the triangle. Like there might be people that have drawn it differently. Like they might have it looking something more like this. You know, it's just sort of like at your own discretion, or like at your own subjectivity, where you draw the actual, you know, support line here. But I think, yeah, something like around here is like a good ballpark. I know it excludes these wicks and, you know, it misses some of these candle bodies, but you're just looking for like a nice average line that goes through, you know, the rough area. So now what else are we going to look at? 1 second, I'm just going to lock that line. We'll lock this line as well, so we don't move them. Now, I think it was, yeah, the EMAs. You were asking, like, when should you scalp? If you turn on the EMA tool and you start at the higher time frame, after you've got like a buy signal like this on the higher time frame, and you can see that the price is respecting the EMAs and not breaking down through them, you know that you're basically on trend, like on a bull, like on a rally up. So that's when you can jump down to the smaller time frame, like the 15-minute. And yeah, you want to be scalping when the angle of the price is like on a strong, steep trend, because there's more momentum. You know, on a pullback, the next move's likely to be higher on these pullbacks in a strong uptrend. When price is kind of traveling sideways like this, there's less bias to up or down. It's just more neutral. So that means like it's basically, they call it chop or just noise. Like it's a lot more unpredictable. Like there's no clear direction or bias. So you want to wait for the direction or the bias or the trend to return before you start scalping again, I guess. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, thank you.
No worries.
By the way, I'm new here in the Discord channel. I'm Don Q. I've been listening to you guys since the GME broke out back in February. I just want to tell you guys, how much you guys have helped me. I made many mistakes. I tried scalping before I even knew it was scalping. I was trying to do it on my own, and so I've just been trying to figure it out. But you guys have been helping a lot. Well, I appreciate you guys for all that you're doing here.
You're most welcome, and it's a pleasure to have you aboard.
Thank you.
More the merrier. So,
I got a question for you, Rick.
If you guys haven't already, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel if you're watching now. And if you find AIM runs into technical difficulties, like there's a chance that I'll be streaming, so you can hop across while you're just waiting for his to return, and vice versa. Like if you follow me and you find like I run into difficulties and my stream drops out, jump across the Tame stream, because we have similar information going. We're usually focusing on similar activity on the market. So yeah, you can think of us like partner streams in a way, or partner channels. And remember to hit the like button as well. That'd be greatly appreciated. Sorry, go ahead. We were going to ask something.
Was that the volume that you had on the right side there? When you were talking about the blue skies and stuff, what's that indicator?
That's called the visible range.
Okay.
To access that, you need a pro level subscription or above. Unfortunately, they don't let you use this indicator on the free TradingView account, like on the free subscription. But it's a pretty handy tool. It's not, you don't need it, but it definitely gives you a nice idea of like where the supports and resistances are going to be, and where the channels of where these holes are, like where the price is likely to move freely. But without it, you can sort of get an idea. You can almost draw it yourself, like without the indicator being on. Like if I was to have a guess, like you can see, okay, at this level, a lot of candles exist at this point. So I would say the volume profile is going to look something like that. There's only like one candle here, so we know that there's going to be a hole. There's a couple here. There's not as many as here, but there is a couple here. So here's another point. There's a lot here. So this would be like something like that. And I'll see how right I am. See how right or how wrong if I turn the volume profile back on. Yeah, maybe pretty wrong. But yeah, like that's just like, yeah, it gives you a sort of an idea, like where did price travel the most freely? And like that'll give you an idea, like once we get back into that kind of area, there's a chance that, we might have the same kind of resistancelessness, if that's a word. But like support is just where, a lot of price activity, a lot of buying and selling happened in the past. That's what supports usually are. And also like previous resistance usually becomes future support as well. So you can see this line here was previous resistance. Like we got rejected off this price, whatever that may be, 45.5 cents. So that may become a future support, like as we potentially come down and retest it. This whole price action, like I'm not worried yet. I'm not changing my sentiment. My sentiment is still bullish. I still think we're trending up. these corrections are only healthy, so don't panic. You know, we're so far away from the EMAs, it needs to come down a bit before we go higher. Just like here, we left the EMAs, like, you know, we needed to get back in touch with the EMAs to find support, to sustain the rally, to sustain the trend. So that's what it is. Just when you're a little bit fearful and in doubt, just zoom out on the time frames. For the 1 hour, the 4 hour chart are your friend. The 1 minute and the 5 minute are going to give you a bit of anxiety because, you know, you're looking, sort of gives you a bit of a false sense of fear and panic because you're so close, you're so zoomed in. But when you zoom out, you can see, okay, yeah, it's all just a part of the whole trend going up. Like this is all intolerance of the trend, these moves down. So
Rick, I have a
15-minute chart's nice. Yeah, go for it.
I'm sorry, I don't think I was pushing you to talk. What time interval do you use to set up that triangle initially?
Usually a higher time frame, or I mean, you can sort of start on the 5 minute just because you get more information. Like you can see a bit more resolution of like where the tops and the bottoms are.
I've noticed that when I move the interval that sometimes the wicks change and they don't touch or they go too far.
Yeah, like especially if I jump up to the 4 hour, or maybe the 4 hour's too big. If I go to the 1 hour, like see these just become wicks. Yeah.
Yeah, I set it at the 15, and then when I went to go down to the 5, I had to move the line. So I just keep moving the line, and I'm wondering which one's right.
Yeah. So I don't think, well, they all try to it's like a battle for which time frame is right and which one bears the most significance. But usually the higher time frames are more significant than the lower time frames as far as trends go. The higher time frames have more influence on price than the lower ones. So see how I've excluded this wick? And like if I was to draw it like this, it sort of chops the wick off and ignores it. That's because you could say this wick was just overbuying. Like the price came back down and this is where the candles actually closed. So that's a better representation of where that price generally traded at. So it may have only spent like a couple of seconds up doing like this high, whereas this area the price spent a lot more time, so it's more significant. So excluding wicks, there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah.
So the wick could be more of an anomaly than it's worth chasing around.
That's right. But the whole point is you're just looking for lower highs, like with triangles, lower highs and higher lows. They might not all line up perfectly, but you know, a triangle in theory could look something more like this. I'll just grab a shape. Like sometimes you'll get a triangle that looks more, you know, like a big scoop, like this, you know.
Obtuse.
Yeah, that's right. Like it's convex or concave rather. And maybe that, you know, some people identify trends like that, like where, because they want to see it touching more, you know, they want to see it touching the candles, wicks or tips. But the whole point is, whether it's, you know, touching the wicks or candle bodies, it doesn't really matter too much. I mean, it's better if they do, but the whole point is it's just showing the same story that we're winding down on volatility and consolidating sideways. That's the general idea. That's what's happening. That's what's going on here.
You'll want the charting on logarithmic too, because a lot of times when you go out to further time frames, the way that it like puts everything together so that you can see further back time frames is weird, like on Webull.
Yeah, if I go onto Bitcoin, logarithmic is definitely handy for looking at, yeah, like you said, really long time frames, like high time frames. Like if I go on the weekly and I reset the chart here, the logarithmic scale is basically a view of percentage change rather than, you know, this is called linear. This is a linear chart. everything has equals, like every price interval is equally weighted, whereas on a logarithmic chart, every price interval is weighted by percentage. So, like, look what happens to a price range when you move it up on a logarithmic chart. So this is the same $6,100. Down here is a bigger percentage swing than $6,100 up here. See, the price has stayed the same, but the percentage has reduced. It's squashed down to compensate for that change. So when it comes down, it's a bigger swing. When it goes up, it's a smaller swing. This is why people like to trade alts for gains, because the cheaper the coin, the more swing you get out of it, the more percentage change. Whereas expensive, like coins like Bitcoin, they're so high in price that you need to change the price so dramatically just to get 10% out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so much easier to push around an altcoin and get like these swings out of it than it is to try and push around Bitcoin. But yeah, that's the logarithmic chart. You're sort of looking at things. This is linear. That's logarithmic. Linear, logarithmic. So when you're on like 1 hour and below, like you want it linear. Like you don't want to be using logarithmic on. Like it's going to look very similar anyway. Like on the 1 hour, linear to log. Like look how similar those are. Like there's not much difference. There's no point in using log. So linear is fine. Like in these like lower time frames. But yeah, you're right. When you're looking at a larger picture, logarithmic. Thanks, man. I love you too. Thank you to all the people that subscribed and liked the video.
Thank you.
And thank you for everyone that's tuned in and contributing. Yeah, a pretty cool community going on here.
I appreciate how much in depth you went with that and took the time to show everyone that and explained it to us.
Welcome. No worries.
That was beautiful.
Brick, you're such a beautiful specimen, dude.
He takes it.
Thank you.
How often do you update that as the movement goes on?
Update
like moving moving the triangle lines? Like, let's say that the next candle drops, how often do you move it?
I guess it's when you get something that violates the triangle, like it invalidates the triangle in a very convincing way and closes down, like you basically scratch that pattern, like, that pattern's over. This pattern, I would argue, is still kind of in play, like this consolidation. Another tool that shows it, this is the really good tool as well, the Bollinger Bands. So I'll turn off my EMA cross. The Bollinger Bands do a good job of measuring volatility. So when the bands squeeze, like down here, look how tight this squeeze is here of the price. That's indicating an area of low volatility. And usually what happens after low volatility is a return to high volatility. And what usually happens after an area of high volatility is a return to low volatility, and it swings back and forth like a pendulum. So I would expect these bands, these Bollinger Bands, to start squeezing together again as the volatility reduces. So you get this tight squeeze, and then all of a sudden you'll get an expansion again when we break out. Hopefully it looks something like that, because that would indicate that the price has consolidated sideways, gotten boring, and then a breakout, like, well, maybe not down like that, but like something like this, where the price breaks up again and you return to volatility. Yeah. So that might take a while. Like we might be stuck in this consolidation for a bit of time because, we've done so much so quickly. It needs time to cool off. The RSI is looking good. Like we're coming back to sort of neutral territory there. So that's, good sign.
I feel like we have the same conversation.
I have a question.
Yep.
What did we look like yesterday around this time?
Yep. So that would be around 6 o'clock my time or 7 o'clock my time yesterday. That was just here. just here. This is like this time yesterday. This little run up,
Right.
is the same sort of time as here. So this whole price action here is 24 hours or 1 day. Yeah, there we go. You can sort of see it. It measures the time. 1 day, 96 bars on the 15-minute chart. 1 day on the 1 hour chart, of course, is 24 bars or 24 candles. On the daily chart, 1 candle is 1 day. Changes as you cycle through it.
Hey guys, I don't have access to my computer right now. Can I get a TA, please?
Yeah, so we're just consolidating sideways at the moment. There hasn't been any, continuation of the uptrend, and there hasn't been any significant breakdowns or trend reversals. So I would say we're going to be in this kind of consolidation for some time, like maybe the next couple of hours at least. But, there's no guarantees in crypto. Like, things can change at the drop of a hat. So we just have to keep an eye on it and see what happens.
Hey Rick, just another question from a newbie. Basically, let's say this is like very general. You go to sleep at night, obviously, and you're not going to keep your eye on it. What is advisable to do? Like, sell before going to sleep, or just leave it there, or just put in some orders? What do people usually do?
So what I do, because sometimes I'm forced to be a swing trader if I get stuck in a position, but if I'm scalping and I want to go to sleep, usually I won't take another order. I won't get into another position before going to bed. Like, I'll just be in Tether or dollars, you know what I mean? I'm hedging to something that's stable until I wake up the next day and I want to start trading again. And then that's when I can buy into the next position. So that's what I generally tend to do if I want to sleep peacefully. If I'm in a trade, if I'm already in a trade and I want to go to sleep, like, you can set price alarms or alerts to, wake you up. If you want to be awake for something happening, like, you would set an alert for, like, if I was to go to sleep right now and my buy position was somewhere up here and I want to know about it if there's going to be a drop, first of all, I would have a stop loss. Like, I'd probably put a stop loss here at 53 cents because, you want to put your stop losses just underneath support, because support is likely to hold the price up. If support breaks, there's a high chance that the price will fall further. And it's the same on the resistance side. When resistance breaks, you're likely to move higher. But if resistance holds, you get the price rejection and then you get forced back down again. So it's all about, supports and resistances where you place your stop losses or your buys.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
So how do you, so basically, if you were to go to sleep now, you would make some orders that are outside of the triangle, yeah? Outside of the resistance points.
Yep. So if I was, hypothetically, in a trade that was like, I'll turn off the Bollinger Bands here. I'll go to the higher time frame. If I was in a trade and, this is just an example. This is not like, okay, guys, set up a stop loss here. But this is an example. Like, let's say this line here, this looks like a line of support. We've had a lot of sort of price action around this line. I'll make it 3 pixels and dashed. So basically, you would set a stop just below that wall. Usually, it's represented on the order book as a huge order, like a wall. So you want to place your stop losses just below the buy wall, because if that breaks, you're likely to go further down. And
could you please show that firewall again, just so I can put the two into context?
Yeah, so like I've used this sort of level. Okay, so there's a bit of a wall at 50 cents. So you see how there's a large chunk of orders waiting to get bought at 50 cents. If we break down to 50 cents,
Where are you seeing that, Rick?
bounce off it on the order book. Are you watching my screen?
Oh, okay. I am watching.
You're
yeah,
watching,
I just don't know where the order book is or what I should be looking at.
Okay, are you on Binance?
I'm on Binance, yeah, and TradingView. I've got my own TradingView chart set up as well. But I'm looking at yours.
Hey, what's your stream called?
Okay. Crypto down under with spaces. Crypto space down space under.
Because I'm just kind of wondering where you're getting the lines in there. What the lines, the horizontal lines are representing as well.
Yep. So I generally draw a line where price has been rejected. So where you get I'll show you. Oh, I'm on the wrong tool, no wonder.
Thanks, man.
So you're right, no worries. So I'll use Bitcoin as an example here. So, and we'll zoom out a bit on the 4-hour chart. So when price reaches a high point, I tend to draw a line. That was the highest point, and it's past resistance, like here, that's indicating that there's resistance on that line. So that means that in the future, there's likely to be a bounce off that same line as support. And look what we got, a bounce here. So previous resistance becomes future support. Previous support can become future resistance as well, which means, it's basically in the opposite direction. So I'll show you what that looks like if I flip my chart.
So your line there,
previous support and a downtrend can become future resistance. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So the line, how do I point out to it without having a cursor? So where you have the triangle, the line going up from that green bit just above the yellow line.
Mm-hmm. Just here, this high point.
Yes.
Yep. Yep. So you could pick this here as a line of possible support in the future because it was previous resistance. So I would say that quite confidently that's going to be probably a line of where we get some kind of bounce. You can see here, look, the price has bounced here twice now. If we go down to a smaller time frame like the 1 minute chart, you can see that we've got a double bottom. There's a bounce here and a bounce here. So that means this line or this level, which is 53.5 cents, would be some kind of line of support. It's basically just, if you just like zoom out and you look back to where the price has reacted before, that's what you're looking at as like a point of interest or a point of reference for potential support in the future. Or
cool. This simplifies it very much. That's great advice. Thanks, Rick.
You're welcome. Hey guys, I'm gonna go make a coffee, so I might be back on in a few minutes, but don't stress about this chart. Do you have any quick, urgent questions? You said wait.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you one thing real quick. Have you taken a look at Ethereum on like some of the higher time frames? To me, it kind of looks like a Head and Shoulders, but I'm not sure like if you've seen it.
Let's have a look. It's just loading.
I want to ask you as well, Rick, if you're doing Ethereum, because that one's going up, as we all know, like crazy amounts. So I'm kind of wanting to sort of even, I've put a quarter of my capital in there. I bought it at 1 point at 0.15, and that was some $500 US. So, I'd really be
Ethereum.
Yeah.
Is that like against Bitcoin or against the dollar?
That is against the US dollar.
Okay. And what do you mean by 0.15?
As in, I didn't get one Ethereum.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. That's the quantity. Okay, sorry, I thought you meant price. I'm like, if you bought it at 0.15. Right. Do you know what price you bought it at? Was it like above $3,000 or was it below?
I'll just confirm that for you. I'm gonna have a look in the Binance app and come back to you in 2 seconds.
Yep. For the person.
Hey guys, let's save all the questions so Rick can go get some coffee.
It's all good. Yeah, I don't think anything's going to happen in 5 minutes on Ethereum.
Bring me some
nothing dramatic. So, yeah, I'll be right back.
All right.
Okay.
Sure. Thanks. Cheers, Rick.
No worries.
I love how peaceful it is when Rick is here.
I know, everyone's mesmerized.
Make it up.
Very soothing.
His voice is the antithesis of FOMO.
Can we get the rocket in the chat for Rick?
Counting down to 6 people talking at once. 5, 4, 3.
Rick's voice is like having a Valium.
Seriously, there was a bunch of people, hey, on his YouTube chat, there's a bunch of people asking if he, like, how they pay him, and a couple of people like, yes, yeah, you're right, he does do this pro bono. He does have options for PayPal, Bitcoin, how to donate to him if you would like to.
If you really do want to donate to Rick, I recommend not doing super chats on his channel, though, because YouTube takes, like, a hefty portion of that, so I would wait till I knew exactly how to like donate directly to him.
I don't know if he's able to get them yet either, though, because you have to be monetized. I don't know how
it's in his description, guys.
Yeah, it's in his description.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
Nice.
Did anyone see how Meek Mill just announced he bought $50,000 worth of DOGECOin?
Nope, didn't see that. That was just now.
Yeah.
Because I know he had already announced he was buying it, but I don't remember.
I'm about to actually just sold my Ethereum that I was holding because I don't think that Ethereum is at the peak yet, but I also think that when it does hit its peak, it will probably come back to the levels it is right now, around there, and consolidate. So I sold my Ethereum so I can make different investments for now.
Where do you think the peak will be?
I think the peak is probably around 4,000 for Ethereum, and then it'll come back down. And when we see it drop, I think it's going to bleed out into some of the other altcoins. So it's kind of what I'm banking on right now. You can see Chainlink going off today, which is pretty nice, while Ethereum is taking a breather. Chainlink is just going up, dude.
What makes you say that it's going to peak out at 300,000? Sorry, 3,000.
No, 4,000 is where I think it will peak at, or around 4,000, not 3,000.
Sorry, but that's 3,000. And what makes you sort of come to that conclusion?
That's just kind of like, I mean, most people that I've listened to and some of the articles I've read, it was, the general idea was between 3,000 and 5,000 is where Ethereum would get to on this run. And I mean, it's been straight up for like a week, so it does need to come down, but I think it probably has gas in the tank to get to 4. But after it gets to 4, it's definitely going to have to consolidate. It's going to have to come back down and retrace a little bit. And so whenever that happens, the money, the profits that people take from that 4,000 peak, they're going to take that and they're going to start putting it into some of the larger cap altcoins underneath Ethereum. It's just part of the cycle, the altcoin cycle. So altcoin season is like kind of the last part of the cycle, and it starts with Ethereum taking dominance away from Bitcoin and stealing the show. And when Ethereum's done with its run, that's when the larger cap altcoins go off. And then after the larger cap altcoins go off, usually Bitcoin goes on a run and takes back dominance. And then you'll see pretty much everything go on the run with Bitcoin. That's when like everyone FOMOs into crypto. It's what happened in 2017. So I'm just kind of going off like the theory behind the market cycles for like the crypto market. And
gotcha.
I think it's going to probably top out. That's why I was asking Rick about the Head and Shoulders, though, because this could be it right here. It got to 3,500, and to me, it looks like a Head and Shoulders forming. So this could be, the retracement that we're looking for in Ethereum. And while it retraces, that's going to give some of the larger cap altcoins a chance to run. So if this Head and Shoulders is a real thing, which I think it is, but I would prefer to have Rick's opinion on it, then I think you should probably think about trying to take profit right now before it dips any lower and putting it into some larger cap altcoins, especially like DeFi. This is just my opinion, though, not financial advice. You gotta do your own research, but this is just what I've come to.
What's going on with Doge?
Dude, Doge is Doge is dipping. Holy shit.
What did I just come back to, bro?
Hold on, quiet, guys, please.
Goof off, Goose. What did you say?
I said I don't 100% agree with that recommendation. At this very minute, this would not be the time I would pull profits. I would probably wait till later on this evening.
Okay. Coming in with the scalp alert on this one. This is
Buy the deal.
the opportunity right here. Big whale action.
Yeah, I'm about to buy this dip.
I bought the dip at the top.
50 cents is prime for a scalp. You're going to make such good money in no time.
You guys see that once it fell though out of the triangle, that now it has usually a larger drop.
Don't go all in on it because you might go down to the next floor, like he's saying there too. You always go slowly. You keep averaging down until you get to the bottom of it.
Oh, I'm averaging down. I'm in at 56.
Oof, gonna have to change that triangle now, huh?
You said your average was 56?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the signal. My average is 56.
Hey guys.
Well, at least I don't feel so bad. I mean, I've just been looking for a new entry point all day, and I saw it moving the way it was, and I was like, all right, this might be a good one.
5-0.
We've got a little bit further to go, y'all. Just let's
54.
A little bit further to go.
I shouldn't be worried. If they spend money, then this is what scalping is beautiful for.
Let's go. I got it.
Just buy it on
right back to 5.
Yes, I'll buy right there.
Then it goes back down to 5. What?
4.9. I put 500.
Attention.
You literally could have just got 10% there.
Attention. Kmart shoppers. Would like to remind everybody that Webull and likely Robinhood is in maintenance right now, so don't panic.
Yeah, Robinhood just went from 48 cents to 54 in like 2 seconds.
Good call, because I was down like 10%, and then I went from down 10% to up 1% in about 30 seconds.
So if I back out on the 30-minute chart, I don't have to change my triangle.
Are y'all starting to believe me that I'm good at the scalping thing? Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Dude, every time you open your mouse, I literally am clicking buy. And then every time you talk
bro, I just made $280 and what?
I just made
the fat 11 seconds
of my life. Yeah, well, I can afford sushi now. Thank you, Doug.
Wait, who said they were appreciating their own? Like, who said, "Are you appreciating my shit now"?
JD, man, the one giving the scalps to
dude. He's called the scalps all day.
I have not missed it.
He literally calls them every time they dip.
Yeah, I'm looking for certain.
Hey, who's the one that calls?
Dang, I missed out on that.
When the charts give you what you're looking for, you play it. That's all it is. Simple.
Who's the one that calls?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
If this is for scalpers,
wait, is there another one, JD?
Push the top.
Oh, it's coming back.
This is for the scalpers, and this is not a financial question, but when are you jumping back in? Because I just threw a 500 at the 4.9, so I'm just gonna watch.
Well, I personally got in at the 500, and then I
JD.
If this goes all the way, it's not all the way back down, but almost all the way back down to that same entry point that we want it. Trust me, we don't want to lower the last entry point. We want it to be just a little bit higher. What's up, a little bit higher? Actually, right here.
Hey guys, just wanted to let you know Tame's channel is back on, so we're going to be ending this stream for right now.